Hello everyone, this is Reimu, and this is going to be episode 4 of CV Academy featuring carrier positioning. So positioning is arguably one of the most important things when it comes to this video game, and things don't change when it comes to carriers either. For some reason, it's not as discussed as much as compared to other classes. The lack of discussion might also explain why some players end up going to the A10 tile or just end up reversing and just hugging the outer line the whole game. Pretty much end up dying because they don't keep track of where the carrier is, or just contributing less than they can be in a match, especially in a very close game where the carrier spotting and damage is needed to win. Question is, why would one worry about their carrier's positioning when even if you have the infinite range with your squadrons and you could just be safer from being further back behind the team? Caring about your positioning as a carrier is important because this means that you're constantly on the move instead of stationary on one single tile, so the enemy doesn't exactly know where your location is. It also means that you're going to have support from your team. Um, if you are in danger by another ship that is rushing you, like let's say a destroyer trying to rush you and torp you, you are going to get firepower support from your allies. CV positioning also has the benefit of faster squadron rotations, meaning this is how quickly you can get to the enemy with your current squadron and how quickly that squadron can get back to the carrier to be used again. Next benefit is faster support for your team, meaning how fast you can get to your team that needs the fighters and you can provide cover for them. And the last thing is allowing you to do all of this and do multiple things regarding the objective at the same time with one single attack run. Instead of going to point A and then recalling, going to point C and then recalling again, there's too much time invested. Now, the downside of pushing as a carrier is the higher chance of getting spotted by the enemy and being focus fired, which results in you dying. And dying, especially as the carrier, means that you can cost your team the game. Another downside is while having the benefit of rotating your squadrons faster, you also get deplaned faster if you execute your runs poorly. Finally, pushing up as a carrier is not as easy as setting up an autopilot to a location, calling it a day, doing your own thing. It is probably one of the hardest mechanics to actually fully understand as the carrier. It takes practice, it takes a lot of experience to know when to push, where to position, and the best path for you to take to get to that destination. The main thing to note when pushing with your team and carrier positioning is that it's like a double-edged sword. The higher risk having high reward. If you know how to use this mechanic, you'll have a much higher chance of winning and consistency in your matches. But if you execute the push poorly, you can die early and pretty much cost the game for your team. For the last part of this video, I'm going to try to explain what determines your positioning and how you'll be executing your push in the match. Some of those things are going to be how your team is positioning. Next is how the enemy team is going to be positioning. And next is going to be how many islands are available for you to hide by. And lastly, cyclone. Is there a cyclone in the match? Usually in the first couple of minutes, I tend to be stationary because I want to see where my team is going to be going and positioning. This gives me an idea of which side I can go for maximum support on my end and which side I can provide the most support as well. It also lets me know how well we can win that flank and which flank is going to be the one that needs most support. Next, I look at the enemy positioning. How heavy is their push going to be? Are they evenly distributed? Is there going to be a lemming train forming up? What kind of ships are on that flank? All these things are going through my head at the start of the match, like the first 2 minutes, and I'll try to provide some clips later on to show examples of my decisions and just to make things a bit less confusing. Next, I take note of the amount of islands and their placement and which ones are going to be safe to hide by. It is almost always safer to be hiding behind an island than be in open water because carrier sniping is less common nowadays since rework, and hiding behind the island means that the enemy shells have much harder time hitting you. It's kind of like the same idea of playing as a United States cruiser, for example. Finally, is there a cyclone in the match? When a cyclone hits, everyone's visibility and everyone's concealment is shortened by a large amount, giving you a lot more options on where you can place and position your carrier. At times, you can even be an open water escort and sail with your team during a cyclone. All of these things should be considered during the early stages of the match. Of course, things can happen like a flank heavily losing and changing up how the match will play out, but generally speaking, these are the things that should be going through your head. So this is gonna look a little scuffed, but this is pretty much the only way I can really show exactly how I'm playing out the match. This one was from my live stream highlight. So I did set the speed to 2x, so it's gonna be moving a lot faster than usual. So you notice here, I'm actually not moving my carrier at all. This whole time I'm just spotting for Seaside, and I did spot the Thunder heading over to the A cap. But this whole time I'm not moving my carrier. I just want to see how the enemy is moving, how my team is moving. And after the first successful run, I go back to my carrier and I started thinking. I was about to go over to support the Seaside because just how strong the push was, but I then decide to actually head over to the A side. Reason for this is because that's a lot of anti-air. You got was that a Kansas, um, Kansas, Zao, Kit, Puerto Rico, Prince Eugen, Alsace. Those are all very heavy anti-air ships, and they're all going to be bunched up right there on that island. This is going to be a stalemate on this flank. There's not much is going to be going on. I can focus this side to help the push, but in generally speaking, C cap should just be a stalemate. No one should be pushing in. The destroyer should be contesting cap on each side, and that's how they should be playing. So this is why I decided to go to the A cap, because the Thunder and Iowa are spaced out. Their destroyer, who is a kid, was spotted. The Daring, I'm gonna assume is on A cap, but that's two destroyers that are spread out. They're separated. I don't have to worry much about torpedoes because there's gonna be an island right here. There's an island right here. And there's these two islands here that I can position up. The Daring is most likely going to be hiding by this island or just sailing to go back to his team behind this island. Um, I do notice the Vladivostok is going to be positioning right here, bow in. Iowa is kiting out. Thunder is going to be kiting out position as well. So this right now, I'm just going to be waiting, sailing closer to my team, but just farther back enough that I won't be taking focus fire. Now, speeding things up a little bit, I'm just farming the battleships, making them position to kite away, so I can push up. If I skip a little bit forward here, we do spot the Daring and the Edinburgh. Now the Vladivostok here, he's just going to be stuck bow in. These two are already starting to run away. This is forming up into a very strong push. Seaside is already winning without my help. I see the Des Moines positioning up in the center. So this is basically how I'm going to be positioning up. I'm going to be going over to the A cap because I saw how spread out these guys were compared to these guys. And A cap was actually a very strong push on our side. So this allowed me to easily push up. They can't shoot me because they got this island in the way, and Daring has this island in the way, so I'm not spotted at all, even though my concealment is reaching the Daring right now. Only time I'll get spotted is when the carrier comes into my concealment range. And now, as you can see, even with the Vladivostok now in my range, I'm still not spotted because of the islands. He's behind the island now. I played this in a way where I made both of these battleships kite out while the Vladivostok was stuck bow in, meaning he has nowhere to go. He can't spot me. Daring can't spot me. Now it's just a free farm. After clearing out the Vladivostok and making, the Daring is gonna die regardless. There's no way he's gonna live from these ships. Once these two dies, Iowa's gonna be running away. Thunder is gonna be kiting out now. That'll give me a chance to actually push up straight through the B cap. So this is just what my main focus is from this match. And I skip a little bit forward. Vladivostok doing his final push. He's gonna die. And when we do take him out, that's when I decide, hey, their whole
east flank decided to come in through center and actually push them, trying to actually squeeze them in. But my team is already starting to come in, and I'm getting the first move. So I do see the Kansas. Kansas is a target for me. I am carrier spotted now. You guys can't see it because it's zoomed in on the map, but I am carrier spotted now. And right now, my movement is trying to go behind this island so the Kansas can't shoot me, Alsace can't shoot me, and now I drop spotting. I drop my carrier being spotted. So now I just hide by here and I just farm the Kansas. Kansas goes down to the North Carolina, sorry, to me. And Alsace is going to be running towards the Republic. And that's pretty much how the game goes out. I end up capping and I end up being the first one to push up. That's how this match goes. And then let me show you another example. All right, so here's another match. This is where I push up extremely close. I ended up pushing up right here with their whole team on the other side of this island. But let me just give a walkthrough of what how I play this. First, initial spotting. I don't move my carrier till a little bit later because I don't like being behind this island, especially if they start coming around here. That's when you're trapped. So I just end up moving over closer to the center side. Initial spots going out. I see how the enemy is starting to push in here. Even center, they're all going to the A side. So immediately I start moving. Speed this up a little more. I do goes towards the center cap, trying to see exactly what's going on. This is their strong side. This is their weaker side. So I end up going here. I do see my team is already rotating over to the C and the D cap. And let me move a little bit more forward. I'm already starting to be in the center. And now this is the side that needs to win because of just how strong their push is going to be coming from the A from the B and the C. We need to rotate over. In this case, I'm going to have to be pushing up really close here. They're going to be turning around trying to hold this position right here in the center. So me being as close as possible will mean that I can get my planes out to the fight a lot faster. I can rotate my squadrons faster, but I am taking a risk basically of I'm giving up my planes for the fight to help the push, help the team, help give the team some room and to remove the priority enemy ships that needs to be killed. So as you can see here, I am pushing extremely close. There is a Yamato pushing up, Kremlin, the Petro, they're all coming up now. And I position my character or my carrier right by the island here. As you can see, their flank is already pushing over. The midway also moved over, which is a proper thing to do, following the team, following the whole rotation that's going around here. And now we basically just rotated sides. So now this is going to be the main focus point right here. I do go after the Yamato, the Kremlin, the Petro. All these ships needs to be dealt with. Our Thunder is doing a good job kiting out. Slava is coming back to hold these guys back. You know, all these things. You can see I'm right by the island here, but this is pretty much how I position my carrier or MVR a lot, especially in MVR. Because of just how stealthy she is and how fast her planes can go, you can rotate extremely quickly and pretty much solo carry the game a lot of the times. I think these intervals is like 15 seconds back and forth. But the time it takes these planes to come back to the carrier is very, very quick. And this is one of the huge strengths of your positioning. If you are able to take extremely aggressive positions like this, it is very beneficial to you and your team. It's just executing it, knowing how to do it, knowing when to position like this is going to take a lot of experience. It's going to take a lot of patience. Kind of like trying to position as a what's that? As a brawling battleship, like a GK or an Ohio. You can't just push at the very beginning. You have to wait it out. You gotta wait, see how the enemy is going to be positioning, and you gotta carefully pick the fights that you can win. And now because we cleared out all of these guys here, now our team can just rotate over, and then now these guys are going to be stuck in a pinch. Kremlin is running away because he's low HP. the gearing is stealthed up, but he's not going to be an issue because Slava already knows where gearing is. He just has to kite out the carrier, and that's pretty much how we win the fight. I ended up over here, and I started from here. I ended up on their spawn, and we pretty much win the game here. I think I have a 202. Yeah, I have a 2,000 damage plus this game, and as you can see, my planes are all gone. And they've been gone for a while now. Yeah, they've been gone for a very long time. Back at 6 minutes into the match, they're already deplaned. And this is the risk that some people sometimes you have to take when you are setting up that aggressive positioning. Giving up your planes for your team. It's just, I was confident that we could win this game, despite losing our Vermont very, very early in the match. I think she died like 2 minutes in. But I was very confident that we could win, because these are all battleships setting up here, and as MVR, you can just delete them. Triple sits, double sits, it takes a chunk of them from their HP. So things like that is just all from experience, how confident you are, how the enemy is positioning and rotating, how your team is positioning. All these things you just got to consider. Alright, so that pretty much does it for this episode of CV Academy. I hope it was helpful. Hopefully it wasn't too confusing, because if you are a bit confused, that is understandable, because this is not a very easy topic to explain. It mainly comes down to experience and actually knowing, having a feel of how the match is going to be somewhat playing out. The main things, main key pointers is just keeping constant map awareness, knowing how the team is positioning, and trying to pretty much predict how they'll be ending up position wise. But hopefully that was helpful to you guys. If it did, let me know, and I'll be working on the next one hopefully by the end of this week. That these are pretty difficult to actually edit through, but if it does help you out in some way, let me know, and leave a like or subscribe. It'll help me out greatly. I do have a Discord open, so if you want to check that out, I'll leave a link in the description below. But yeah, that pretty much is it for this one. I hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you for watching. I'll see you guys next time.